Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. And boy, oh boy, have we had some amazing energy happening lately. Man, I've been all kinds of just different balancing and trying to find, and I'm discovering once again the self care that I often discuss with others. That I didn't even realize I had been kind of pulling back and not really allowing myself the kind of rest that my body required. And so started doing that a little bit more lately because I didn't really have a lot of options. I don't know about y'all, but man, so when we started to get that geomagnetic storm last night, the heart palpitations were happening. We had a really interesting meditation that affected all of us. It was useful, though. It's definitely one of those that, though they suggested that we could do it at however many times we wanted to, I didn't really feel like I was going to do it again, but I was glad that I did. It was a heart activation, and we were doing it right at the same time that we were still enjoying the super new moon energy. This would be the last day where you really feel that new moon, so you can still utilize this energy right with manifesting. What would you like to create? What do you prefer to have your tomorrows be like? This is where we manifest. We plant the seeds that of the things that we want to sow, for the full moon in a few weeks. And so this is the time you can really um, have have that opportunity to kind of like regulate that energy. It's been, yeah, I'm going to grab you real quick, Cosmic Detective, because this is, yes, so glad you're doing this live, Mila. The energy is friggin' buzzing. It really, really is. Yeah, and it's been like almost difficult. It's been, I wouldn't say difficult exactly, but I've been needing more focus to self-regulate, to maintain this type of balance, and we're going to do a normal live Q&A for a little bit until my guest gets here. I'm sure that there's been all kinds of technical stuff going on out there lately. Like, I'm not surprised, so when she gets here, we will grab her in. Though in the meantime, man, oh man, yeah, this buzzing energy, and it feels kind of like a lot of us have been talking about this, by the way. It feels like a vibration in your organs, and like they're migrating. They're kind of like having a dance party or something. And I'm not talking only about like the bowels, the intestines do tend to move regularly. We're talking about like there's something else happening in here, and it's been useful to be able to take that break, just to pull back just enough, and to rest. We're feeling a lot of kind of different symptoms at the same time. And I don't know how many of you noticed what was happening, energetically speaking. The Schumann has been doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We just had a timeline jump. A bunch of, like, I have a whole bunch of notifications. So we kept getting a variety of different types of increases throughout the last 24 hours, especially. The KP index spiked up to, I believe, 5 or near 5. I don't remember for sure. The KP index is a measurement of the energy. Typically, that's coming from the sun. So we do know also that today's the last day, I believe, that massive coronal hole will be facing us in the way that we're really being affected. It looks kind of like, if you look at the energy plane that's coming off of this sun, it looks kind of like a tilted sombrero, and Earth is right in the middle of that stream, as if we just stepped into the shower of it, and so we've been feeling a lot of this, not to mention all of the weird earthquakes and volcanoes and all kinds of different stuff that's happening all over the planet, and we're feeling it. It's good stuff. Like, what I get from it is, when I connect with my guides, with spirit, what I get is it's good. It's a growing pain of Tara herself as well, just like us. There's different types of spiritual as well as physical growing pains, and we're doing that right now. So thank you very much for your comment. Oh, and Vegan Vixen, anyone been feeling really sick lately? That is a yes. A lot of people, and really sick in tandem with, this is a very peculiar observation I've been noticing, in tandem with, usually it's got a specific joint area involved. Often it's the back. There's been a lot of stuff about different parts of backs, and like though the hips and the lungs. It's been surprising over the past like 2 days, the amount of people who have contacted me talking about different types of stuff happening, jaw, cheekbone. I mean, like, it's like all this throat activation, throat chakra area stuff happening to a lot of people, and along with this, I've lost my appetite. For the most part, over the past 2 weeks, really. But yeah, I've not really wanted to eat anything. And it's, I would say it almost feels like I'm mildly nauseated, but not quite, just something is going on there. I'm also having this purge going on as well, so I'm going to answer one more question. And I see, and they have somebody in the way, or my guest is in the waiting room. So let's see, I'm going to grab one more. I saw another comment. Okay, never mind. We're going to go through your comments as we go as well. So there is an upgrade. There it is. Yolanda Marie, thank you. There is an upgrade in communication happening again, a large wave, even clearer receiving and clarity of high frequency information. Getting this from the Arcturians. Thank you so much for your message, Yolanda Marie. Now, I get to introduce my guest. I'm so excited to have my lovely sister, Layla Wind. She's coming in. She's been here before. She was here on Christmas Day last time. And so I'm really looking forward to having her join us once again. I'm going to bring her on now. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Peace, beautiful goddess. I am well. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, lovely. How are you? It's so good to see you.
You too. The technology's been all kinds of crazy, so I wasn't surprised that you didn't get here when we started. So I was just went live. I hope that's all
Yeah.
right.
I'm so sorry for my tardiness.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you look amazing.
Oh,
Where
thank
so
you.
it's really nice weather there, it looks like. Here it's real gloomy. What you're like in the um you're back west somewhere, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like in Southwest. Yeah, we're in Arizona.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's hot, it's sunny, it's very hot, so that part's not fun, but I do love the sun, so we're
Yeah,
grateful for that. And the evenings are very nice as well. So yeah,
awesome.
yes, not as bad as it could be.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, I'm just gonna just uh, Layla Wind here has been in the field of practitioner for quite some time. Like she has a variety of different things, and so if any of you have any questions or anything, we'll also bring those forward too. Um, uh,
Yes.
you also offer a variety of services, and I've linked your information in the description of this video for anyone who wants to contact you.
Oh, thank you so much. Shall I do a formal introduction really quick for
Please
your
do,
guest?
please.
Yes, yes. So, peace and love, higher vibrational family. Yes, I am Layla Wind, also known as Chosen Goddess specifically on Instagram because I'm choosing to be a goddess this lifetime, just a being of love and light. And yes, so a little bit about me. I'm an intuitive spiritual mentor. I'm also a tarot and oracle intuitive reader. I host yearly annual goddess retreats, which are all about spirituality, holistic health, mind, body, spirit, emotional well being. Also, creating your dream life, creating how you want to feel, creating your reality, because that's all about that higher consciousness, right? That higher vibration is creating your reality. And of course, your connection to spirit, your beingness. That is very, very huge. I'm a holistic plant based chef, and I'm also a mom to an autistic son who I love so much. So, apologies in advance if you hear screaming, noise, yelling. He's a wild boy. So,
All right.
Yes, so that is me in a nutshell, and I'm just a loving being, and I'm just so grateful to be here. I love Pamela so much. I'm so grateful I got to be introduced to her through Yolanda. Actually, Yolanda Marie. I seen her being referring you on her page, so I came to your channel and I reached out, and it's been just beautiful ever since. So I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction.
Thank you,
Um,
guys.
you have so much cool energy every time so far. This is our second time, and last time I got to say, after we were done with our conversation, I was just buzzing, you know. And I can tell that you're an energy worker, and I don't know, like, I sometimes we do it without realizing what we're doing. We're just being ourselves, right?
That's so
Um,
true. I love
there's
that.
if someone's discovering themselves being able to do this, how would how would you guide them to help them to like kind of hone that and to kind of more fine tune that practice, because you're obviously really good at it.
I love that you said fine tune because that's been the energy that's been coming up a lot lately is the energy of just being more sensitive, being more aware, kind of fine tuning our life, fine tuning our vibrations, fine tuning our energy. So I love that you use that word because that's specifically what it is. It's just tuning in, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it all starts with awareness, awareness of self. I like for people to just slow down and take a breath and to just kind of watch their thoughts, watch their energy, watch their emotions, just watch yourself, right? Observe
Right.
yourself without feeling like you're judging yourself or you're being over analytical because we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to analyze and go into that analysis paralysis, but definitely it starts with that awareness and then
Yeah.
tuning into where we do need to fine tune our life and our vibrations. So that's where it starts for me.
Right.
I'm really good with me being a Scorpio. I'm good at helping people go deep. So into the hidden, into the shadows. That's like my lane is, helping people when they think they go deep, I help them go deeper. So
Right on.
yes, so that's me in a nutshell.
That's
Um
awesome.
yeah, that's how I help my clients.
As I were going through the comments, I'm seeing a lot of people having, like, I've actually heard a lot of reports about this too, like from others outside of this space, um, where there's been a lot more experience with like anxiety, fluctuating energy, and just difficulty in self-regulating. Like, you're a pro, so I'm just throwing questions at you, if that's okay.
Oh, you're so sweet. I would say I'm with them as well. It's like it's the thing of, we're the masterpiece and the working progress at the same time.
Right.
So I appreciate you saying I'm a pro, but I'm also very much a novice too. I'm with y'all. I'm with y'all. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I go through anxiety too. I go through all of the emotions, right? But it's big in this collective because we're feeling these collective energies heavy and this really call to resurrect ourselves, this call to come back to our true self. And I
Yeah.
think that's where a lot of the anxiety is coming from because so much is being pushed up to the surface. And it can feel very overwhelming. It can feel like, it can feel in a way like you're dying, you know? Talk
Right.
about Scorpio energy, death and rebirth, because in a way we are dying.
Mm.
And we are dying to the old ways of being in the world, old ways of thinking, old ways of just whatever, everything that's old that served its purpose at one
Yeah.
point in time. But we're in the age of awakening now. So I would say when it comes to anxiety, for me it's about allowing everything to move through you, not about like pushing it away, like being able to even hold space for your anxiety. And I think that's when you tune into like the higher self, right?
Yeah.
Is when you're able to, and sometimes we're not realizing we're tuning into that higher self by holding space for ourself, in a sense, holding space for that anxiety. Because we have to remember that anxiety is not you, but we are in a human experience. So it's, and it goes back to that saying, they say anxiety is, living in the past, and or depression is living in the past, and anxiety is living in the future.
Right.
So it goes back to just being present, like allowing ourselves to be present. And again, noticing what you're feeling, breathing through it all. And what I talked about on Christmas was the 8 daily essentials. Like,
Yeah.
oh, if I can just reemphasize that again, like
Go
that,
ahead.
yes, like
I'll make time.
your spiritual connection, your connection to nature, your exercise and nourishment, your ability to clean and clear, your rest, integration, your inner child play, your learning and reading, your divine creativity, and your heart based action, which is all about facing your fears, even the small fears, one step at a time. Those are the 8 daily essentials. Like, for me, whenever I'm feeling like anxiety or out of alignment, I go back to those. I go back to those because I really feel in my heart of hearts that every human being can be doing these every day in their own unique way, because you get to make it your own. Like, and if we're being honest, like spirituality, tuning into our soul, tuning into our heart, tuning into spirit, all of these things are things that we actually need to be doing as a human collective, like moving our body. I'm not saying you have to be a gym rat, but moving, just get up and move, dance, stretch, something. Look, we're not meant to be stagnant. So for me, if you're feeling those heavy anxiety, or you're feeling those heavy dense feelings of the collective, and not only the collective individually, and even ancestrally, we're talking about, we're tuning into so many different energies, and we're not even realizing it, right? Or
Yeah.
I should say, we're picking up on those energies. And yeah, through this death and rebirth, we got to find our equilibrium. So I
Right.
would say go back to those 8 daily essentials, and like she said, thank you for putting my information in the chat box. You can get more information about the 8 daily essentials by contacting me or going on my website. So that's what I would say to do. Be aware and shift your focus.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know that was long-winded.
No, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
And I just have a little bit, one little thing to add too is that um, these fluxes of energies that we're getting from like outside of us, meaning like in the earth as well as from the sun and these different
Mhm.
celestial things that are happening right now. Um, I feel them often if it when I can be, the observer rather than the experiencer. There's a difference,
That's
and
true.
um I'll be able to notice that these what I would call anxiety symptoms are often my body just responding to the energy, and
Oh
so
yeah.
uh knowing that often makes it like everything go back because previously that's actually how I even got into having conversations about this with anybody. Like I've known about this stuff for a long time, but I started to feel I was going to start taking some pretty strong drugs for anxiety.
Oh, oh, I'm so glad you didn't
And
do that.
me too. Me too. And someone happened to give me a word. They called it earth empath, and it sent me down a rabbit hole. This was back, the early stages of internet. So, it was kind of a limited rabbit hole, but it was enough that it gave me an awareness of, what I was doing at that time when the energies would come in is I would then try to assign it. Like, why am I
Mhm.
feeling this way? Is there something bad? Is this foresight? Is this a warning? Well, like because
Mhm.
we are all channels, and
Right.
I very much communicated with spirit at that point, but not enough to understand what was going on. Anyway, once I started to become aware of like the Schumann resonance, what was happening on the
Mhm.
sun, what was happening, I can feel an earthquake. It looks
Mhm.
like an earthquake inside my body when it's happening in Brazil.
Mhm. Yeah.
Everybody has different stuff. So when that would happen, I'm like, am I having like a walking seizure? You know what I mean? Until we
Yeah.
start to find out these are ascension related. Has to do with your soul awareness too. So it's not
Yeah.
always a physical thing.
Right. Yes, your soul awakening for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's part of the shedding, is like, I feel like that's the coming back to self. Like everything you said, how you were able to pick up on that earthquake
Right.
and to be able to feel it. Some of us may have more of that clear cognizance, our clear, clear audience where they can even hear the earth, and its wisdom and the vibrations that are coming through. So, yeah, that's why it's so important to just continue to do the work. And I just love what you said about, it's not always, a physical thing. Sometimes it's very, in a way, ethereal.
Yeah.
And it's very, you can feel it on a soul level in a very spiritual way. So, I just say give grace. And we don't always have to make sense of everything
Yeah.
as well. Sometimes just gotta let it do its job,
Yeah.
let it do its work. And I also want to say this too, and this has been coming up in my consciousness a lot too, that a lot of times we use, because there are for sure a lot of ascension symptoms, but not everything is technically what you would think is an ascension symptom. What's been coming to me is a lot of light workers, we're being called to purify our bodies.
Yeah.
And because we're being so sensitive nowadays, it's like a lot of that disease and illness and the ways we've been neglecting ourselves is coming up to the surface. So I
Yes.
feel like that in tandem with the ascension symptoms
Yeah.
is like super heightened. So sometimes it's not necessarily ascension symptoms. It could be, but then it could also just be a symptom of like we need to cleanse our vessel
Right.
and we need to purify ourselves and we need to get ourselves together. So
Right. Right.
that's coming up big.
That's a really good point. I mean, and a lot of this, it's 222 for me, so it must be 1222.
Yes.
1222. There's
Yes.
the purge. There's this
Mm-hmm.
this massive purge that we're all doing right now on whatever level is correct for each individual person. And so sometimes it also can be uh, disheartening or cause some type of conflict inside when we try to compare ourselves, and measure up to everybody's going to be a little bit different
Right.
because not only has it been what I went through in this lifetime, like as me, but then I was the egg that became me in my mother's womb when she was
Mm-hmm.
in her mother's womb. And how
Mm-hmm.
many toxins did my Swedish grandma consume? You know what I mean?
Right. It's true, right? So true. Yeah, but we get to become the healed ancestors.
Yes.
So, which is beautiful. And, again, give grace because we're working with a lot. The ancestral DNA, the karmic clearing, all of that. Like we talk about past lifetime, talk about current lifetime issues, inner child wounding, self-sab. I mean, you name it. We're working with a lot. We're working with collective, working with being empaths. Like you said, we're working with Mother Earth ascending. We're working with the cosmic reorganization and restructuring of the cosmos, and then also what that's doing to our DNA, what that's doing to us on a cellular level. I
Yep.
mean, come on now. We're working with a lot, so give grace.
Right. And you're basically unwrapping your present, who the present
Yes.
you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's
Yeah.
okay to be training wheels. That's the part that most people seem to get hung up on. They have to be a master at it as they begin. Like, you the first thing you did, it wasn't even roll over, it was lift up your head. You
Mm-hmm.
know? Like
Yeah.
give yourself a break and be gentle with yourself.
Yeah. But would we even be here in this human experience if we were masters?
Exactly.
I mean, come on now. We're really on the kindergarten level. I mean, as a collective. So we better give a lot of grace and we
Right.
better be lighthearted with it because there's so much to it. It goes back to that saying, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
So, I just say continue to stay open. And I just also want to address, like somebody was talking about the communication. I think that's something Yolanda Marie was mentioning earlier was the communication with the Arturians coming
Here it is.
online.
I'll reread it real quickly. There
Yeah.
is an upgrade in communication happening again, a large wave, even clearer receiving and clarity of high frequency information. Getting this from the Arcturians.
Yes, and I seen someone else even kind of second that. And I just want to say, yeah, what's coming through is because there's just a massive heart awakening and
Yeah.
also a lot of righteous anger is coming through as well. And people are ready to express. They're ready to roar like that lion.
Yeah.
They're ready to express, and they're ready to, you know, people are, I think they're tired of holding back. And it's just like, it's really time more than ever where duality is so in our face.
Yeah.
It's like you can't hide from it. That more than ever, it's like, you know, people who wasn't speaking their truth, I feel like they have this, like, this written, it's like, what's the word? It's no resistance. It's almost like it's it's just flooding through. There's nothing to block it. It's just coming through.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't come through, you know, the most clear, concise way,
Mm,
it's still coming through, I think, for a lot of people. And that's really beautiful.
yeah.
That authenticity, you know, even if they weren't meaning to be authentic in a sense,
Right.
it's still streaming. That's the word I'm looking for. It's just streaming through for a lot of people. I mean, not everyone. I'm using this in a sense, a
Yeah.
general sense, but you know, for I think that's has a lot to do with those collective energies of the communication, because
Yeah.
that righteous anger is very much tied also into the heart opening, because people are tired of the nonsense. They're tired of
Yeah.
the drama. They're tired of the separation. They're tired of the suffering. They're like, it's time to wake up. It's time for me to speak up. Even if I don't want to speak up, but even if I'm scared to speak up, I'm going to speak.
Right. Tired,
You know?
tired of the bullshit.
Hello, come on now. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I so resonate with that, and I the way that things are often, built is that first it needs to be broken down so it can be put together properly, and so I've been noticing the breaking down of communication leading up to this window. So I'm very much resonate with these messages too. Like, and it's actually affecting my speech. Have you had that happening where
Oh yeah.
like you can't remember words and then all of a sudden like you're you're well educated, versatile. Yeah, I don't know, like you're normally I'm normally a very articulate person, but there's been a barrier, like I don't know. Have you been seeing that or feeling that too?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I become a babbling, you know, I don't know what to call it, but you know, it's like almost like where you have a speech impediment, but you
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I get exactly what you're saying. 1,000%. Um, you know, it's just about going back to the breath, but at the end of the day, you know, what needs to be said will be said. So
yeah,
sometimes if we have to take a breath or laugh at ourselves through all
yeah,
the babbling,
right,
we say what needs to be said. And I think that's the beauty of like just speaking your truth and practicing your speech, is that you can kind of see, even what's coming to me is like, even through the speech, some woundings,
mm,
past life woundings that come up through what we're saying and what we're trying to convey.
yeah,
Not only past life, just the in general wounding of the collective coming through the voice, you know, because the throat chakra is huge. That's another major awakening right now too, is the throat
yeah.
being awakened in tandem with the heart.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it makes sense why a lot of people are like, "Duh, duh, 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 duh," you know,
Mhm.
I'm doing it too.
Right. And there are no mistakes or coincidences. So like I feel often whatever is supposed to come out does, right? Even if
Yes.
it feels lopsided. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. There's a
Yeah,
question for you in the audience here. Karen
I
asks you,
see.
can you please speak into what you feel the role of autism is for our shifting consciousness as a species?
Yes. So maybe we both can answer that, because I feel like
Yeah.
something may be coming through for you too,
Want me to start?
Mella. Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
this is actually the field that I worked in for my life. Like that was my career. I
Mm,
was a behavioralist, is what they called me in
mm,
social work, and um, I can say that every single individual. So I worked with in home, like so the individuals that I assisted were in like group home settings. They were no longer with their parents, and just to be clear about that, because uh, there were things that happen in those places when it comes to medication that wouldn't have occurred if they stayed at home, and that interception of these evolved individuals, I think, was something that has been going on and is going to slowly stop, and is already stopping now, on that level. Fast forward into the important part is that each and every single one of these individuals were masters. I was in the presence of high frequency beings. I
Mm,
was in the presence of individuals who were able to regulate and open their heart center in a time that others weren't doing it. That we
mhm,
are now, but this is they no one was. And um, often people like will associate the ability to communicate, speaking of communication verbally, with intelligence, when that is incorrect.
mhm,
100% incorrect, in fact. um, I would say that was taught how to better live more through hanging out with these people, with these friends of mine, um,
mhm.
than anyone else. And we're talking about a variety of ages, backgrounds, walks of life, and every single one of them. And I know that more and more, as telepathy becomes more readily available for everyone else, um, and it's already happening. There's been conversations about this recently, is that people are beginning to realize the masters that these individuals are. And um, I am also seeing that people are saying that their children, maybe adult children who had never spoken before, are suddenly speaking now. And I always wonder to myself, is it telepathy? Is that person even realizing? You know what I mean? Is
Mm,
Because it feels like that it's these beautiful high frequency souls came down to a denser place, and it's not possible to do what we do, without having also that same training of how to regulate that density.
mm,
So as we raise the frequency, we're kind of releasing these individuals from some type of etheric prison.
yes. Ooh. Wow, you said a mouthful of wisdom right there. I'm here for
Rambled a
it.
while.
Yes, everything you said completely aligned. I also want to say, autism, it sounds a lot like I always call them now autism artistic children. They're master creators,
Yeah,
master creators. You tune into, all the people that they said were geniuses and innovators. They said they were somewhere on the spectrum, a lot of them, right?
yeah,
I think they even said Tesla had some form of autism. I'm not sure. And I know they said Einstein for sure.
yeah,
And there's so many others. So it works in tandem with that artistry, I should say, artistry,
yeah,
autism. And when I think of art being an artist, it's that creative field, creating your reality, creating from the heart. And they work a lot too. They're big on numbers. They work a lot with sacred geometry as well. And like you said, they're tuning into higher forms of communication.
yeah,
They don't necessarily have to speak words to communicate. It's actually us that needs to catch up to them in the way that they're communicating. And I think also too, I feel like the reason why these beautiful beings have been incarnating at such a rapid rate, there's a lot of nuances to it too, because even
yeah.
though these are highly evolved beings, part of them being so highly evolved and being in this level of density causes a lot of stress on them, can
Right.
cause a lot of behavioral issues, so to speak. So they definitely need a lot of care, a lot of compassion, but they need not only understanding but understanding how to work with them. A lot of people are just aloof, they have no clue. And then a lot of people, especially in the matrix, they just want to sedate them, medicate them, isolate them. And we come to find that a lot of these therapies, they may have some benefit, but it's not really what they need on a soul level,
Yeah.
on a higher dimensional level, because these are higher dimensional beings. So I think we need to catch up to them.
Yeah.
I think we need to be able to, like you said, the word telepathy, they're very telepathic.
Yeah.
And they're also very extrasensory. They're tapping into different realms of consciousness, different realms of energy, different vibrations
Yeah.
more than we are. That's why they're so sensitive. Because I feel like they're in multiple realities at once, and they can see it,
Right.
but they may not be able to know how to process it in this, human form.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of nuances to it. I mean, also, I can say too, for some children, there's been a lot of damage in terms of, I don't want to say the words on here because it's YouTube, but the jab
Yeah.
that can cause. But it's interesting because it's like a thing of like they caused harm, but they also awaken a gift. That's the mystery of life,
Yeah.
you know? So I don't want to glamorize it in a sense, like as if these children, a lot of them do need that extra support. They need that extra help. They need that understanding. They need compassion. They need care. My son is one of my biggest teachers of my life.
Yeah.
He runs me crazy, but in a good way, because he teaches me a lot of patience, a lot of love, and to tune into what he needs. But they're so sensitive and they're so special. But yeah, we need to catch up to them,
Yeah.
and it's teaching humanity to also be more inclusive, to be more in our hearts, to not treat them like they're outcasts. And I would say this goes for actually all special needs children,
Yeah.
all special needs children to some degree. Autism is still very different than like a Down syndrome child, but I would say all these special needs children are that. They're so special, they're so beautiful, they're so sacred, they're such a gift
Yeah.
that we need to catch up to them. And I even see him, I used to laugh about my friend's Down syndrome's brother. He used to open doors for everybody, go up to everybody and say, hi, hi. He was so sweet. And I used to think, we're the ones with the disability. He's so sweet. He's
Yeah.
going up to everybody, saying hi to everybody,
Right.
being so loving. Yeah, he has his issues, but just that basic fundamental of humanity, giving everyone eye contact, no fear of strangers. I'm like, we're the ones with the disability.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. They're so special.
That was a really good answer. And there's a whole variety of individuals that, you know, I mean, I've recently been noticing more and more that there's been people saying things like, what if all of us on the awakening are neurodivergent? Well, the what's now being declared or classified or looked at as divergent is the majority. So if it's the majority, because what the definition of normal is the majority of the group. So who's
Right.
deciding what normal is if it's not
Mm.
following the definition of the dictionary, you
Yes.
know? So that's just
Yeah.
a, what do you think?
I love that. Yeah. I mean, let's look around. We're the ones that are abnormal, there's a saying that says, it's oh, how's the saying go? God, I'm sorry. This is one of those moments where it's,
Yep.
made neurodivergent. It's proof right here, right? Yeah, it's it's to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society is technically insanity. I'm
Yeah.
not saying the quote exactly right, but a lot of us have been well adjusted to a very profoundly sick society, sick in mind, sick in body, sick in spirit, sick in not being in our hearts, being, you name it, everything that the matrix, brings to the surface, right? The false matrix.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I feel like, especially us light workers, because again, we come from such higher dimensional planes of existence. Not all light workers, but a lot of us, are star seeds.
Yeah.
A lot of us are star seeds. So we have those, you know, beautiful gifts that are, in a way you could say are supernatural or, beyond the scope of being a human. But we are human, but we're also divine. We're very multidimensional. So I feel like, yeah, absolutely. I can even tell you for me, like a lot of times I'll phase out in a conversation. It's not because I'm trying to be rude. It's
Right.
because something's coming in and it's like I need to sometimes or I may be extra processing something,
Right.
I'll catch myself like, oh, okay, let me get back to the present moment,
Right.
but yeah, yeah, the so-called neurotypical is that the norm. I
Right.
agree. Because
Right.
I mean I can look at them and the so-called neurotypical is lacking compassion. The so-called neurotypical is lacking inclusivity. The
Right.
so-called neurotypical, I can go on and on. Where are those extra sensory gifts?
Right.
Layla Mela tuned ones. La la.
Yeah.
Says.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. That's how I feel about it. So I'm with you, sis. I'm with you,
Yeah.
beautiful sis. Yes.
I love that. I think, it's funny. I was just talking to Elsa about this a couple or somebody. Um, my daughter came in. She's a little kiddo that just into whatever, but is very spiritual. Just doesn't realize it. I don't know if she realizes it.
Mhm.
But she said what you said. She said she came in and she said, uh, in an insane world, it is the sane who are called crazy.
Mhm.
And then she like went on about this. That's actually why we did that show a little while ago about the Titanic, because she started telling me about the monopoly money that we call money. And it's like, this is a little kid,
Mhm.
and she's also considered on the spectrum. She would be called somebody who has Einstein syndrome,
She's
and
advanced. Yeah.
because Einstein was called they called him a word that we don't use anymore, actually, back in those days, because he had slow social skills and didn't really care about interacting with people. And it's learning about this. I feel like this goes across the board for a lot of these things. Is it typically is that they're more interested in geometry than they are in talking to you at
Mhm.
first, like
Yeah.
those types of things. But yeah, as the fact
Mhm.
that you just said the same thing that she did.
Wow. Yeah. See, she's powerful.
Yeah.
Super amazing. I love that. Yes.
Well, and you're tuned into her, and that says something about you too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, she's so sweet. I hope to see her one day. I'm
Yeah.
sure my son, I'm sure my son will bust in the window in the door soon, so we'll see. He's
Right on. He's welcome. It's all good, whatever.
Thank you. If that does happen, just so you know, I'm gonna calm him down and then I'll come
Yeah.
back. I'll come back.
I roll with the punches so easy.
Okay.
It's all good.
Thank
Hey,
you.
this is something that's been coming up a lot in this conversation in the chat here. So maybe we ought to address it. Is parasite cleansing? Do you do
Mhm.
parasite cleansing? And if you
Oh
do,
yeah.
what's the regimen that you do?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've done parasite cleansing. I mean, a lot of people can do wormwood is a good tincture for the parasites. Also eliminating parasitic type of foods or foods that parasites, want to attach to
Yeah,
and feed onto. I would say even human beings, we should probably be doing at least a once a year parasite
yeah,
cleanse because those parasites, that can really take over your gut, your mind.
yeah,
They're literally what they say, they're parasites. So you can feel like you're being drained and are also because of our gut being so connected to our heart and is some people would say is our actual real brain is our gut, with all the cells in it, our gut instinct, the intuition that comes from it, especially for us women, but for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, parasite cleanses are huge. I would also say bentonite clay is also really good to do maybe once or twice a year to do a bentonite clay. Of course, the food grade. Not all bentonite
Right.
clay is food grade, so you want to double check to make sure it is the food grade kind. Also too, going on like juicing fast, veggies, going on a cleanse, like a raw fast would be really, really good for a lot of people as well. Maybe start with one day if you feel like 2 or 3 days is too long, kind of work your way up. But I would say ultimately just moving into a space where you're living a nourished lifestyle, because, and again, it's not about being perfect, and I shouldn't have to say that. And to be honest, people who say that, I mean, not even people who say that, that saying is so annoying to me. Like, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's like, okay, we get it now. Like, don't let that be an excuse to
Right.
not
Right.
take care of yourself.
Oh,
It's never about being perfect, and it never was about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about being conscientious. It's about being accountable. So I
yeah.
would say no matter what your dietary lifestyle is, me, I'm plant-based, but it doesn't matter even if you eat meat. Eat the best meat. Eat the most holy meat that's out there, the most sacred, the most loving, the one that was um, killed in a more sacred manner, the one that lived a quality life,
Yeah.
hormone free, antibiotic free, all of those things. When you live and even for so-called vegans, stay away from the impossible meats, those fake meats, because that's even worse than,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you know, stay away from all that, all those things can create parasites in the body because it's waste. It's
Yeah.
waste. You don't want to put waste in your body. You want to put life in your
Yeah.
body. So that's how I feel about it.
Definitely. Oh,
Actually,
I totally agree. And,
yeah.
you know, it drives me crazy that because I've gone through huge periods of my life where I was either vegetarian or vegan. Like that's something
Mm-hmm.
that, and it's not like an ethical choice. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I let it shift, as it needs
Mm-hmm.
to. My body will ask for what it needs.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that drives me crazy is that makes everyone seems to assume that if you don't eat meat, then your go-to thing is like, what is that nasty block made out of soy? Tofu.
Tofu.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm not a tofu person either, and I'm plant-based. I'm not a
yeah.
tofu person
I
either.
mean, tofu is like, it's seed oil in solid form is what it feels like
Mhm.
to me. Like, and so if I get something, I'm always like, I'm picking that nasty stuff out of there. But I think it's so funny
Mhm.
that that's like anything that's processed. Um,
Right.
if it looks like it had been in a factory, I try not to put that into our bodies. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious.
Exactly. And soy also is not the best. It blocks a lot of phytoestrogens. It creates a hormone imbalance, especially for boys. You don't want to have man boobs out here. So I would definitely recommend don't, don't do the soy boys. Don't do the soy boys. But
Yes.
even for women, yeah, I'm not an advocate for soy. Some people have different philosophies of thought on that. But I ultimately what you said, Mela, is yeah, listen to your own body
Yeah.
and tune into your own consciousness. I don't feel like every diet is for every person based on a numerous amount of factors. A
Mm.
numerous amount of factors. I mean, even down to being honest, even our cultures
Yeah.
and where we come from, all of those things play a vital role. Our microbiome as well, and our gut is very different. And yeah, and like even down to what you were saying, what our body is like requiring even for Ascension. We go through all, but no matter what your dietary lifestyle is eat your vegetables, eat your fruits. If you eat meat, eat the clean meat. If you're vegan, stay away from those processed meats, like you were saying,
Right.
those fake processed meats. It's garbage. And yeah, and do a gentle detox. I would say just to look into some herbs that are good for parasite cleanses. Specifically, wormwood is a really good one.
Yeah.
Wormwood's really good.
And it's easy to grow, by the way.
Oh, is it?
It's super easy to grow. It's like once you plant it, it's like a weed. It's rather prolific. It just goes and goes. Like,
Mm.
I my landlord might end up being annoyed with me because it's already moving out of the big old pot I have it in, and like it's trying to grow through the ground in the grass.
Mm. Yeah.
But I've only just started growing. This is the first time I've ever done it. But like I just did some research on it before I started, and I'm just really I'm very big into. So here's something. This is the only country, the US is the only country that I'm aware of that they don't deworm their children every 6 months or more.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah.
I didn't know
Um,
that.
Pumpkin seeds in powder form are put into almost every food and
Mm-hmm.
some or excuse me, that was a misstatement. They're put in a lot of different foods for this purpose also, just assuming that's what's going to be needed. For those of you wondering about your animals, by the way, it's really easy just to ground down some pumpkin seeds for your pets and
Uh-huh.
put that in their food. But
Mm-hmm. And papaya seeds. Thank you for mentioning the seeds. Papaya seeds are also very good for
yeah,
their parasites. Mm-hmm.
and you could just dry them up and then like I put them or no I think I'm pomegranate wait it was papaya seeds and then you dry them up and then you just I stick them in the salad and they're a good
Ooh.
crunch.
Oh, yum.
Yeah,
You're getting fancy over there. Okay.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just like blend it. Yeah, I'll do papaya smoothie every now and again with the seeds because the seeds have, again, so many enzymes, so much medicine, so much bounty and love. So yeah, the papaya seeds are great. So thank you for mentioning the seeds. And yeah, pumpkin seeds. Love that.
yeah,
Love that.
yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
then one last thing to remember is you need some kind of binder when you're doing a cleanse. A lot of times, like when I first learned about binders, it was like, for $800, buy our binder kind of thing. It's like, that's not going to happen, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Right.
But it turns out the binders are really easy to come by. Oregano is another one of those plants that won't stop growing. It can take over areas. Is one of the best binders you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Parsley, diatomaceous
Cilantro.
earth, charcoal. I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
so many
Oh
different.
yeah, the charcoal is so good. Yeah, I take even when I travel abroad, always bring my two staples, charcoal and ginger. And if you can bring some of the bentonite clay because you never know what heavy metals or anything you could be exposed to. Yeah,
Yeah,
the charcoal is amazing. Thank you for bringing that up.
yeah. Yeah, it's amazing the stuff that it can do.
Hmm.
And all this stuff, the charcoal, you can actually use your own wood to do it. You don't need to buy someone else's charcoal, by the way. For any of you who have the ability to burn wood in a place that what else, so you want to clean out any ashes in there and stuff, and like know that you're not burned plastic is what, and then uh, look up what's best for whatever it is you're trying to clear. And then you can just use that. I've never done that, but that's what Elsa told me.
That's dope.
Yeah,
Amazing. I mean, Elsa knows. Yeah, I never heard of that. I never
yeah,
thought about making my own charcoal, but somebody's making it, so we can
right,
make it too.
right,
I love that.
yeah.
That's dope.
So Yolanda Marie says the study of their evolved communication will answer so many questions for the general collective about themselves and why the heart frequency is so important.
It makes sense because they are definitely calling us to be more in our hearts and
Yeah,
more inviting and more loving. And honestly, I feel like even another reason why they're so like, they non-social in a sense is because I think they can feel that vibration and frequency.
yeah,
It's just very awkward for them. And I feel like they feel more at home amongst other autistic children, or children more on their frequency.
yeah,
So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, being more in the heart, being more accepting, being more loving,
yeah,
and realizing that the way we think human beings are, we think that the totality of, like you said, talking, going to school, just all this programming is the way it's supposed to be. This makes us the most evolved human.
yeah.
When they're literally inviting us to evolve higher than we could have ever imagined,
Yes,
you
yes.
know? It just through their presence, just through their beingness, just through their frequency.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah, we better get on the ball with these
right.
precious babies.
It's so true. I mean, if you consider a lifespan, a typical lifespan, what we end up doing, and people always remark about the parts that seem undesirable about becoming a child again at the end of the life, where
Mhm.
they talk about like the inability to do certain things. But instead, what's more important is to consider how we return to that childlike nature, you
Mhm.
know, like, and this
Yeah.
is long before death. We're talking about like, this is when the grandmas of the world are done with the bullshit and they get tired of it and they start just being they start just being themselves. Sometimes they're called crazy or something like that because they're playing,
Mhm.
and I wanted to circle back to this because you had made some really important points about, you know, activity, moving, along with all of this other stuff. And as we kind of return to this childlike nature, it's play all the
Yep.
time,
Yep. All the
and
time.
they do it naturally.
Yep.
Why do we have to be reminded to play?
Yep. That's because we're deeply programmed. We forgot to play. And we think that play is a waste of time. We think that play is immature, right? That's the programming for a lot of us adults. We're getting that deep programming, and then even where I hear a lot of adults say, especially to their children's, "I don't play. Don't play around with me."
Right,
You hear that, especially like those more stern adults, and really even that language, and I'm sure they don't mean it in a way where it's like,
right,
don't play and have fun. They're saying like, trying to be serious, but at the same time it's like that inner child play is what makes you lighthearted.
yeah,
It returns you to innocence, it returns you to presence, and honestly that opens up the creativity, that opens up the creative, being in that zone is to
yeah,
be in that playful, lighthearted state. That's usually when I notice a lot of the miracles happening. And that's when that creative power really flows through in a very natural and fluid way. That divine feminine essence is just streaming through me, uncontrollably. It's really beautiful. And I feel like, yeah, that's why the play is a daily essential. And like you said,
yeah,
the movement, move your body. We're not, human beings are not made to be stagnant. So even too, like the new age, the golden age that we're going into, the Christ consciousness, we're moving into a time now where even our elders are not going to be incapacitated
yeah,
as they are, a lot of them are now. So I know that for a fact. Like the more that we just take care of our bodies, our health, we're gonna be very agile. We're gonna have that agility
yeah.
when we're in those elder ages, and we're not gonna fear being older because those are gonna be our prime years. There's a reason why they call them the golden years.
Right,
It's really supposed to be golden.
right.
We're supposed
The
to be
golden years, the
transitioning.
golden age.
Yes, God. Yes, goddess. Yes.
Yeah, and play, when I'm in a place of play, that's where, when I'm choosing to manifest with intention, it's a playful heart that's required.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if all things become easier when we're in play, and what are we even doing when we're not? Why would you
Hello.
do that?
Yeah, I think we're probably wasting time if we're not playing, right? That's
Right,
probably the real waste of time is to not play.
right, right. I believe, yeah, yeah.
I
You
hear
know,
you.
and one of the things that we do for that is we always will. I mean, it's for us, it's dance, and I'm not pretending I would look very good outside these with these closed curtains. You know what I mean? Like,
All
I,
good. But
I
hey, do you feel good? Do you feel
yeah,
good? That's
and
what
that's the
matters,
point.
right?
I'm having fun, and I feel the elevation that happens through the act of dance. On occasion, I've been when we where we lived before, we used to be called the dancing angels because we go to the grocery store and like music would be on in that store, so we would just dance at the store,
Mhm.
and but I really don't care. I just people who think that I know what I'm doing, I don't care. Anyway, the point
Yeah.
is enjoy yourself, to celebrate,
Right. Right.
celebrate, solar, and that's
Oh,
soul, you
yes.
know.
Yes, be that light in the world. Absolutely. And, I also teach dance classes, abundance classes specifically as a form of divination and tuning into the body. And one thing I always tell my students, because they'll say the same thing, like, I don't really know how to dance. I look crazy dancing, et cetera, et cetera. I said, look, if you know how to walk, you know how to dance
Yeah,
because all you're doing is moving your body. All you're doing is moving your body, tuning into your own rhythm, and finding your rhythm. Even if you feel like you don't have any rhythm, it's okay. It's okay. Just allow yourself to surrender to the experience. It's like if we're trying to think of what to do or, what do
yeah,
I do next? That blocks the, creative flow, right? But when we're in our heart, that's what really matters. That's what really matters.
that's
So yeah.
that's
Mhm.
exactly right. What's abundance?
Abundance. Yes, that's a form of divination and tuning into, again, dance, but calling in your prosperity, of course, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And also, abundance is a form of light language through movement.
Ooh, I love that.
Hmm. Another form of communication through the movement.
That's so cool.
Hmm.
That's how it is for us. Like my daughter and I, like, in fact, it was in dance with her when she was just tiny at that point. I don't know how old she was. She's probably
Hmm.
4, you know. She's 10, almost 11 now. Um,
Oh, my
but
son's 10. I love
oh,
that.
hey, they're the same age.
Yeah, they're the same age. Yeah.
That's
When
cool.
when will she be 11?
August.
Oh, nice. Is she a Lionsgate baby?
No, she's at the end of August. Thank
Oh,
goodness.
and
I was like the whole time I was like, please don't be a Leo. Please don't be a Leo.
oh. So hold on. Is end of August? That's not Leo?
No, so starting on the 21st, it's Virgo.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
okay.
So now she
Okay.
worries about everything.
Oh God. Okay, that's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Um, but it was in the act of dance with her. And what we had done, it was music from India, so it didn't have very many English words in it. But it was called Breathe, and
Mm,
it was really beautiful. So because we didn't know the words, then you didn't. It changed something that was happening in my processing, and
mhm,
we were that in that dance act of dance. That was when we learned how to form balls of love, and you can actually throw that ball at somebody. Like it's kind of similar to, like, how you feel your energy. You don't always have, the more you practice, the more you can just go like this and feel it, and you just grow it, and you grow the energy. It's kind of like
mhm,
that, but while we were dancing, and it grew really big. And
mm,
she'll still throw these balls of love at strangers, and you can
mm.
see them affected by it. Like,
Wow.
it's really cool. Some people kind of freak out because they're like so in their unhappiness when they get hit with
Right.
love.
Sure, it's a good freak out. I'm sure it's a good freak out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I actually needed that, whatever that was. Yeah, I'm here
They'll
for
usually
it.
throw an F-bomb or something first, though. They're like, "What the fuck?" Like
Oh, I mean, what the F? I mean, what the love?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what the love? That's what I really mean. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I
yeah,
love that. Wow, that's amazing. Power of dance, right? Power of movement,
yeah,
power of sinking into those rhythms. Yeah.
yeah.
Music. We're so grateful to have, we're so blessed as a human collective to have music.
We are. We are.
And sound. Yes.
Celebration of the soul.
Yes,
There's this.
guys.
I know probably need to wrap this up because you probably need to get back to your son. I'm guessing.
Oh, well, we have a little more time, more
Okay.
flow today, so we're
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm done
Um,
when you're done.
okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Um, Speaking of, this is really interesting. Is that I've had some weird conversations with spirit. I'm sure you have too, and sometimes I kind of clump spirit in with galactics, or in extraterrestrials, whatever, but there's just a lot of different types of beings, interdimensional beings and stuff like that. Anyway, this is what I find to be really entertaining, is that every one of them, because I really am obsessed with music. I love music. And every one of them want to know about music. And there's some type of a thing having to do with, like, they're not able to, most other beings I've interacted with can't actually create music as a species. And
Wow.
I've what they'll do, the ones I've talked to do, they replicate the sounds that celestial bodies make, and then like it's like sampling nature and then overlapping it and make it into music,
Mm,
instead of being able to express and create on the spot. And there's always
mm.
that kind of almost jealousy. I just find that
Oh,
really fascinating.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Even interesting that they have some jealousy towards it. I mean, because
Yeah.
music is very, it's, yeah, music, to be in a human experience and be able to experience music. Because I don't know about you all, but when I really am tuning in to the music and zoning out with the music, yeah, it does, transcend space and time for me a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
It really takes you, and I can feel the music moving through my body, moving through my veins.
Yeah.
But all of us have our signature gifts. Like for me, clairsentience is definitely one of them, but also the ability, the dancing is my thing.
Yeah.
So that is one of my gifts, so it would make sense why I'm able to tune in so deep into that music. So that, I mean, that's something to be amazed by. I never knew that these other dimensional beings. Peace, Yolanda. See you later, love. Thank you for coming, tuning in. Just want to say peace to my sister.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, it's something to think about, that these other dimensional beings, they can express themselves through music, but I'm sure there's some form of sound that they can express through, but it's probably not in our way,
Right. Yeah,
you
it's
know.
it's so different. And it's
Mhm.
it's fun to consider because, like, I mean, I don't know, before those moments, I've always taken it for granted, just like it's just a regular thing, the ability to, pop off something, I mean, we have so many instruments we can create, and most people complain about, having to do that in school. And though then it's noticed when the music program is gone, then all of a sudden, math falls, the ability to uh, uh, like do any type of mathematical uh, processing in your brain is emphasized like a muscle when music is used, like some type of a musical instrument, especially. Like
Mhm.
there's so much about it regarding our development and the nurturing of our role as we grow into adults. To think that that might not be an option at some point is such a strange concept, you know?
Well, they say the universe is created through, sound.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense that sound is definitely here to support us. I know for me, even when I'm studying or creating, I usually always have some form of like binaural beats playing or solfeggio frequencies
Yeah.
playing in the background, because it literally supports like my process. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, hey, we got a good question. Totally off topic. Do you mind?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever.
What's the best type of wormwood to use for my son and I? I need to try this, says Brittany.
To be honest, I mean, I'm not familiar with a lot of brands, but one thing I look at, I try to find organic, of course.
Right.
You want to make sure you look at the reviews of whatever you're looking at, and just making sure it's just sourced ethically, grown ethically, all of those things. So just do a little bit of research, shouldn't take you too long. And then, like Mela said, it's easy to grow. So maybe even consider growing it yourself, since it's so easy. I'm actually going to consider it now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
It
then
was
of
like
course, oh,
two
what'd you say?
dollars for a packet of seeds,
Oh, love that.
you know?
Love that. Yep. Yep. Organic soil, organic seeds, preferably, making sure it's not, sprayed pesticides, herbicides, all that madness, GMOs, just making sure it's pure as possible and it comes from an ethically sourced place, and also looking at reviews. That's what I would do.
Right. And you know, the trio that tend to go together really well is wormwood, whole clove, and black walnut. And black walnut
Oh
is
yeah,
the
black
walnut
walnut.
with the green husk. It looks kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a, oh, I can never say the, it's not tomato, it's tomatillo something.
Tomatillo.
Thank you.
Yes.
And you know that husk, weird skin on the outside that looks like
Mhm.
sticky leaves?
Mhm.
It's similar to that. So if you're looking for it fresh, just it's good to know that it's the one with the green husk.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's good to know. I'm learning too.
Yeah.
Here for that.
Oh, and then also I had to highlight it. It's right here. Talking about tinctures and stuff, you know, we can also do a lot of different, you know, it doesn't always have, it could be raw, it could be tincture. Um, there's a Paragard tincture of formula has wormwood, garlic, bulb, pumpkin seed, clove, and more. I wanted to kind of point something out here because she brought up garlic bulb. Garlic and onion also absorb the toxins like a
Mhm.
sponge. And
Mhm.
a few people in my family thought for a long time that they were allergic to onions because they would quickly need to go to the bathroom not long after for a duration of time till the onion had fully left their system. And that has nothing to do with an allergy. Their bodies were full of toxins because as soon as they were done doing a series of cleanses, they no longer had an issue, you know.
Mhm.
And so we know that if we cook the onion and make a poultice out of it, you can put that against the sole of your foot and it draws the toxins out of your body without even having to consume it if you don't want to.
Yep, I was gonna say that even for babies, that's a remedy. Like if they have fevers or
Yeah,
flus or cold, maybe double sock them up. You don't want to put it directly on their foot. Or you can even make a salve,
yeah,
with the garlic, the coconut oil, and like you said, the onion. That's great, great remedy, even for infants. Not too young. I would say maybe at 6 months or older
yeah,
you can double up their socks. But yeah, that's great. Great. You're right. A lot of things are detox symptoms. They're not always allergens.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And consider what it is, you know, and like charcoal's also one of those things that
Hmm.
it'll leave your system quickly if it has stuff to absorb.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's what a binder's meant to do, by the way, is that when we detox, when we purge ourselves of these parasites, there's excrement and
Hmm.
whatever else that is left behind by these
Yep.
parasites.
Yep. Mucus, mucoid plaque, all of that can be expelled through the body. Even the purging of like acne and stuff too, or
Yeah,
diarrhea, those things, it's just a passing through
yeah,
of what needs to be released.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And it's regular. You know, it's like a normal thing. It's something that's been happening for. eh, I was told by Spirit. I think this is really fun because I never thought of this. Like I never thought of it. It's part
Hmm.
of our history that we're taught.
Hmm.
The book burnings, and
Hmm.
we're talking about the '60s book burnings and after that. You know,
Hmm.
that was the burning of a lot of these homeopathic remedies, and those included a regular regimen of parasite cleansing, you
Hmm.
know, a regular regimen of different types of like self-healing mechanisms. And then the doctors that were holistic healers were labeled as quacks, and we switched everything out with artificial stuff, you know.
Hmm.
And so now we're just kind of returning. We're only just learning, it feels like, as a species, once again, at least in this culture, you know, that some of the things that we put in our foods for seasonings are there for healing purposes. Like think about what's in chicken soup. Every part of it is designed to assist and uplift you.
If it's made right, yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Minus all the fillers, the binders, the artificial ingredients. Yeah, when it's pure and it's clean and antibiotic free range chicken,
right,
huge. That will help you. For us plant-based people, use the jackfruit. There's always alternative, but yeah, it's supposed to be meant to cleanse you out. And yet, honestly, in this day and age, with all the toxins that we're exposed to, we
yeah,
definitely have to be a lot more diligent in detoxifying ourselves and doing those parasite cleanse. That's why I say at least once a year. Most people aren't even doing once a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Backed up.
The first time I did a cleanse, I didn't realize that all those like those little things that were moving around in my eyes, they're like
Mhm.
little, they look
Like
like worms,
worms. Yeah. Hmm.
and like I didn't ever consider. Like I mean, there I really didn't. Anyway, I did a cleanse, and not only did all of those go away, but I no longer had a craving or desire for grain or sugar. And that was
Hmm.
when I discovered that's their main food.
Yep. Yep. I'm glad you mentioned that too. That's where a lot of cravings come from. Cravings for the junk is
Yeah.
through those parasites because the parasites are craving it. It's
Great.
like they took it over you, you know.
Yeah.
So you gotta take your power back.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's not
Hmm.
scary. It feels scary sometimes when we first start thinking about it, not having ever been told or thought about it previously, but it's just a regular thing, just like brushing your teeth,
Hmm.
washing your hair. There's buildup, and once we remove the buildup, then we can move smoother.
Hmm. Absolutely. I forgot to mention to you, Mela, we launched, I think I was telling you last time that we were gonna start a podcast. We launched it.
Oh,
Yes, the Golden Age Goddess podcast. So maybe in the future you can come on and be one of our guests for one of our episodes. We would
I
love.
would love that.
Yes,
So, how do
yes.
we find that if we want to go listen to your podcast?
Yeah, so it's on YouTube. It's me and two other of my dearest sisters. One of their names is Kim. The other one's name is Indigo, and it's on YouTube under Golden Age Goddess Podcast. So it's all about bringing in that divine feminine Christ consciousness, us tapping into the golden age, being in the golden age. By creating the golden age within, because it all starts within you.
Wow.
So, yes, yes, yes. So that started. So I just want to put that out there. If anybody wants to tune into our podcast, we have great topics. And our next one is going to launch this Friday, all about light work being the light, shadow work is the new light work. Shadow
Ooh,
work is the real light work. So,
ooh, I like that.
yes.
Yeah, there's been such a smear campaign against that it's not gotten enough like focus and that's so it's Golden Age podcast. I'm writing it
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna.
Golden Age Goddess Podcast.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to shout that out because that's launched. We have now, I think, 5 episodes going on our sixth. So we're really excited. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful podcast. We talk about everything over there. It's just so authentic, so loving. So we would love for anybody to tune in. And then of course you, Mela, would love for you to have you as a guest sometime in the future. So
I would love that. So
yes.
this is, did I spell it right? I always feel like I'm supposed to put two D's in there. Did I do it wrong?
Yeah, you hold on, right? I think it is. Is it 2Ds?
I don't
Now
know.
I'm
I always mix it
confused.
up.
Now I'm
Um,
totally confused. Maybe somebody can help us out.
yeah.
See, this is one of those moments where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
Uh-huh.
I know how to spell goddess because I use goddess, but
Oh
now I'm
yeah.
like
Okay.
stuck. I feel like it's
She
two
spelled it
D's.
right. It is two D's. I
Okay,
actually
there we
erased
go.
one of the D's because I was like, that's why it took me so long to put it up there. All right.
Thank
So
you, Aisha. Thank you, Aisha. I think that's
yeah.
her name, Aisha. Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to checking out your. So, what would you give a brief kind of like what is it that you guys like? What happens? I know it's probably different every week. So you do it once a week. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So we do it once a month. And every month we have just a really powerful topic, typical topics that people talk about in a spiritual community. But of course, we go deep and we put our own spin on it. You get to hear from 3 different perspectives, from 3 different powerful goddesses, and we just work in harmony. And so we're just all about that love and light. But ultimately, the goal, it's all about entering the golden age of Christ consciousness, like
Yeah.
within yourself, but the divine feminine leading the way. That's really our focus. And again, it's not to undermine the divine masculine because the divine masculine is equally as important,
Oh, yeah.
but we're now in the age of the feminine rising within men, women, children, it does not matter. I consider the age of the divine feminine rising the age of spirituality. That's it. it's the age of spirituality. It's the age of connecting to our higher selves, connecting to higher forms of consciousness, love, light, connecting to our angels, our guides, the divine, but ultimately embodying that Christ consciousness, like returning back to what we talked about earlier in this pot and this YouTube is returning back to our true selves, like who we really are,
Yeah.
and going through all those ascension symptoms and etc. So yeah, our last podcast was the art of intuitive discernment,
Mm.
so that was a really powerful podcast. The one that's going to be released this Friday is shadow work is light work, which is really really powerful. And yeah, we have all kind of topics. We talk about what is the divine feminine. We go deep into that. So yeah, check it out. It's just
Yeah.
such a beautiful 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 space, and it's all about community. We're very inclusive, and we just got started this year, and we're doing really great. We're keeping that momentum going, and yeah, can't wait to see what happens, what comes out of this.
Awesome. I look forward to
Yeah,
checking it out.
yeah, please.
It's Golden Age Goddess. You see it on there. Thank you for writing that in.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
awesome. I'm going to totally check it out. We have
Yeah,
a couple of
please.
more thing. We have a couple more minutes, so I was figuring we go like till like 3:30. So it's like 1:30 for you.
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Like you're a couple hours behind me, so you're or before me, or wait. Anyway, behind me.
It's all good. Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
go. This is a fun one. Someone asked a question, and I know the and I have an answer. Everybody's got different. Where is it? Oh, which first of all, Sylvia says also onion purifies a room of sickness. Just cut it, and put it out along with lemon. I
Mm.
have also done this. You can also put it in. When I was little, my Swedish grandma used to do this. That's actually how I learned to do this at all. Was she put it in like a nylon, like a hose, like a stocking, and
Mm.
like I would have ear infections. You stick it up against your ear, and it draws out it turns it black. It's crazy. But you also, yeah, setting it out on the counter really helps. Um,
Mm.
and you can put it on your lungs. You can put it directly against the different parts of your body. But there was a really fun question. Here it is. Um, what do you do for excuse me, what do you do for your eyes, cutting them, the onions? So this is something that I discovered a handful of years ago, and I some people will say put like a matchstick or in your teeth, because the stuff that comes off the onion when you're cutting it is drawn to water, and your eyes are mostly, are the most moist thing available.
Mm.
So I just open my mouth. Sometimes I slightly stick out my tongue, and my eyes don't ever water.
Yeah, I guess my tongue must be hanging out because you know what's interesting? Yeah, I've been cutting. I've always cut onions. I love onions. I put it in all my meals. But I'm now that they're asking this question, I'm realizing my eyes don't water either anymore. When I was younger, yes. I remember as a child that was a thing. I don't know if I've like timeline jumped or what happened, but yeah, my eyes are not watering anymore. So yeah,
That
I like that suggestion. Maybe my tongue is hanging out because I'm hungry or ready for the food. I have no idea,
maybe,
but yeah, my eyes are, and I have, mind you, I have sensitive eyes, so they would typically water for something like that. I mean, my eyes were watering earlier in meditation, so that's very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so
that's cool.
interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have people also will put like a cup beside them or something. I wonder if you're perhaps even doing slicing the onion near to a sink or something. That who knows? But you might be. We just had a timeline jump yesterday. We've been doing them for like
Mm,
at least 5 years, very, very rapidly. We've been doing it
yeah.
before then too, so it's really possible.
Mhm. Yeah, it could be possible. Yeah, I'm just noticing my eyes do not water when I cut onions like they did when I was younger. So that's interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cosmic Detective. She has joined your YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you, Goddess. I appreciate you, Cosmic Detective. Please, and
Yeah.
also if you all love what we're talking about, or even if you don't love what we're talking about, leave a comment. We want to hear from you. Also, we want to hear different perspectives. So it's a
Yeah.
very inclusive space. So we're big on community and just hearing what everybody has to say, how they feel, so we can get
Yeah.
the discussion going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
There's also I found I heard Play Love Remember said something really. I found that when our guides show themselves, it's for a reason. I do a lot of automatic writing, etc. You know, when uh, this was one of the first ways that I really grasped communicating with spirit was through automated or automatic writing. I'm not sure. I've heard both used. Um, though what that is it's simply just writing without really thinking about what you're writing about, and
Mm.
punctuation and spelling and grammar and so on. Just let it go. Um, and I find these days I've been doing it for so long that if haven't taken time to sit down and let the flow start, that I'll start to write somebody a text and it's almost, I call it hijacked. I don't feel like it really is, but they come in and they start channeling through me and it's got nothing to do with that person. It's like, oh, good, you're writing. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and so it's a very useful thing to do. And is there, what kind of, do you do this or is there any um, tips or tricks that you want to give to anyone regarding this type of topic?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to connect with your intuition and your subconscious mind as well.
Mhm.
Is to do the automatic writing and to just see what's being released and what wants to be conveyed through your spirit. I have done it. I haven't done it recently in a few years, but I have done it. And I will say it is a powerful way to just connect with your intuition and to just see what's coming up for you that you may not be aware of, and then rereading it and you'll be like, wow. Because sometimes even when you're writing it, you're almost in that trance like state that
Yeah,
you're not even really aware of what you're writing. So when you go back and you review it, you're like, oh, wow, I wrote this,
yeah,
or this is what came through. So I definitely recommend the automated writing because, like you said, it doesn't require the mind. It's just free flow.
yeah,
You're in that zone. It's very inner childlike in a
yeah,
way. Just keep going. So yeah, that's a great tip in terms of just enhancing your intuition and
yeah.
connecting with your subconscious mind as well. Even your unconscious.
And it's such wise. I remember doing it before, not knowing what it was like, and then going back and like reading. Was when I used to journal quite a lot and stuff, you know, and I would look back and read it and go, wow, I was really wise. Like, how do I
Mhm.
know that deep stuff? You know, and it's who knows exactly, though on some occasion, often we're connecting with ourselves on a higher self or who knows exactly. If you do have a question, you know, use your discernment. You have the ability to tell. We are the best bullshit detectors in the universe. You know, like you can tell when someone's lying, you know,
Mhm.
and
I
it's
know I can. I know I can.
right. It's funny too, because when you hang out with a bunch of people like us, you know, and making content and stuff, if I find that when I'm concealing, I'm like, I'm trying to consider the other someone else is involved and, you know, editing out their role for their own privacy purposes, that even that is pegged. Like I'll get comments and emails and stuff. It's like, you were lying about that, weren't you? The frequency of lying comes out for me when I'm omitting because I feel like it's an incomplete truth. Because I
Mm,
feel like it's not true, then it comes through as dishonest. I find that really
mm.
cool.
That's interesting. I mean, it just goes back to being true to yourself. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
true to yourself, then, a lot, and even connected back to the throat chakra, what needs to come through needs to be said a lot of times. And, I think we're all working on that in some level. It's just allowing, even if, because it's not like a lot of times with that, it's not like you're intentionally trying to lie, but it is a lie in a sense because you're not being true to yourself. Anytime you're
right.
not true to yourself, it's not the highest form of truth and love and light. So, and
Exactly.
and that's okay, but that's okay as well because we're all growing and we're all learning. So
Right. Yeah. And yeah, Jacqueline says this automatic writing has been an amazing awakening tool for me. I'd highly recommend it. And anybody who wants to try it out, it's super easy. It's free. I
hello.
suggest a pen that because pencils you have to like it's different. And also we always use it's like a spiral notebook because you can just flip, 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 and your logic or your ego, whatever word you want to use to assign to that, um, is distracted by this function. It's kind of
Mhm.
like light language where you gotta, sometimes you'll find you need to do something to like release and let just the soul talk. And
Mhm.
it's pretty cool though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love that. I love that you had a notebook right there and a pen
Yeah.
just ready
Well,
to go.
I always take notes. My notes are because I have so many downloads happening during conversations that some of them are for me to look into later, and some of them, because I get downloads so much, I need to remember what I wanted to respond to that you had said. So I'll make a quick note. What I wrote
Mhm.
here though is I wrote that I want to check out your channel. So I wrote your channel's name down, and then I wrote bentonite clay because I've never used that before.
Oh, yay. Yes. Oh my God. The bentonite clay is great. Also for your face, your hair as well. It pulls toxins out of your hair. It restores it back to its literal most
Oh,
healthy,
I do have
shiny.
some.
Yep. Okay, so you have it. Okay, maybe it was me mentioning the face and the hair that made you connect it.
Yeah,
That, oh, I have it for that. I just don't, maybe you don't have it for like the internal.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I've noticed, man, the purge. I've actually, because what I like baths. Showering is like the end part of a bath though, because I still feel like I got some grime on me, like I'm
Mhm.
that person. But and my point here though is that I've put it on my face and stuff, and then rinsed it off while I stayed in the bath. Then stuff leaves my body that's wiggling like little worms and stuff. That was
Mhm.
a little while ago, and so I started using it all the time because this stuff, like, it drew this stuff out of my pores,
Mhm.
and like we got all kinds of stuff, all kinds. It's not scary. It's just toxins that our body need to purge. And but I didn't know you could. So there's a food grade
Yep,
that
there's a
this.
food grade, calcium bentonite.
So how
It's
much do you use typically? I'm sure it says on the
um
bottle, but
Yeah, well, honestly, yeah, it just depends on what brand you get because sometimes they're not very clear. But I would say starting off, maybe doing a 5 to 7 day cleanse, but with a half a teaspoon to maybe 1 teaspoon at the most, because it's very powerful, very strong. Not only it's a binder in a detoxifier at the same time.
oh
Yes, it's
yeah.
both. Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, that's just like turmeric. If you grind it or have the pre-ground, along with freshly ground black pepper, because the black
Mm-hmm.
pepper actually helps distribute it through your body. The
Oh,
turmeric
okay.
will dissolve all of these parasites and their leavings. Lots of times the leavings are eggs, so
Mm-hmm.
and it's similar to the activation you get with pineapple or pineapple juice. It just
Mm-hmm.
dissolves these parasites on the spot.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that final clean sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, it's 333. Maybe we should wrap this up. Oh, there's a question I got to grab real
Oh,
quick.
sure, sure.
So a lot of people have been saying that for some reason lately from iPhone, for people are having a hard time joining Telegram. Um, I will create a new link, I guess, and then just put that out there. It should work. It's worked for 520 plus people so far. So I'm going to just refresh it, and I'll add that to the comments in the future. So you can come back to this video and you'll see it in the comments that I'll have a new link out there for you.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, 333 is perfect.
Yep.
I also wanted to ask you because last time I was trying to leave you a donation through your PayPal, and I had messaged you through email, but I know you're super busy. I'm like, she ain't seen the email. She probably gets hundreds of emails. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I was like, let me ask her on the live when I can get the answer. Like, do you have another way for us to give you love donation through like Venmo or
I
besides
just
PayPal?
I just barely got a Venmo account, but I don't know how to share it. I don't know how, like, I don't know what to do.
Okay, so maybe I can like screenshot something to you. Like I don't. It's a code. It's a like a little code or your username, whatever username you created.
Mhm.
I don't have it on me. I don't have it memorized on how to go there, but
Okay.
yeah, I guess if you play around with it, you'll find where it says like pay me or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to send you something. So
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
cause yeah,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Yeah, because PayPal wasn't working for me for some reason.
Huh.
So if you can try to send it to me again, would be great. If
Okay.
not, I'll try PayPal again. So just
Okay.
wanted to throw
Well,
that out there.
I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Want to send you some love, showing me some love.
Well,
Appreciate you. Yes.
and I look forward to joining you on your show sometime.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yes, I'll reach out, but please look at my email. I know you're busy.
I will. I will. I'll check out your email. And for those of you who are curious, when I do go on your show, I'm gonna put out an announcement so y'all can join, and I'll go find your YouTube channel and also put it in this uh, the description here of this video for the future so people can find it. I
Oh,
always love um, to see and to participate in these new channels, and I really resonate with your energy. So I'm looking forward to seeing
oh,
what it is like with you and your sisters as y'all have conversations and talk about this stuff. So
oh
thank you.
yeah. It's really juicy, not boring. It's all fun.
Yeah,
Just like us, just like you, higher vibrations. And
right
I just
on.
want to thank you so much. I really resonate with your energy as well. I appreciate your loving community and your loving soul. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you. Oh, and really quickly, we're leaving now, but just really quickly, I had forgotten to put up the link for our group until just before this live started. So we are having group meeting and Zoom meeting that starts a little less than an hour from now. You'll find that in the YouTube community section, as well as in our Telegram group. It just was put up late, so it's there, and I will see you all there.
All right. See you all. Peace and love. Thank you.
I hope
Peace.
blessing.